So, does anyone care to touch on this further?
Amalek and the Philistines are the modern place in Gaza.
Okay.
Home to Hamas.
So does this kind of come back to like
and
the current?
Today's Syria and Iraq are.
So does that whole like Gaza and then annihilating the people go back to the current conflict in Gaza?
Yeah.
Even though it's really more of like Palestine that's kind of taking control of Gaza now. It's, the Israelites still believe it's like, and that this is why they believe it's theirs.
Right. Yes. A lot of the people in the MAGA camp also will buy into the whole Canaanite thing.
Okay.
And how evil the Canaanites are and all this stuff.
Descended from Cain.
Yeah. And from the land of Canaan.
Yeah.
But what they really didn't like was when I pointed out to them that the disciple Simon, he was a Canaanite. My name is Jerry. I left MAGA. And I got another one of my buddies here to react to a video. I had a lot of fun doing that Hal Lindsey video with my buddy Justin when we were talking about no atheists in the foxhole. If you saw that video I did the other day with Garrett about constitutional anarchy, you saw how passionate Garrett got. That was so much fun. Joe here, though, he's a little more laid back.
Yeah.
And incredibly intelligent. We'll just leave it at that. We have some pretty in-depth conversations about things that average people just don't reach.
Sure.
But so Joe has agreed to react to a Hal Lindsey video, so I pulled up my playlist, and he's decided we want to find out what happens with the destruction of Damascus.
Yep. Let's destroy Damascus.
Let's destroy Damascus. So we're over here with Hal Lindsey, Isaiah 17 and Psalms 83, the destruction of Damascus. This is a continuation of the work that I've been doing in reference to the whole Armageddon talk that's been going on lately. Let's go ahead and get into this, see what's going down.
Yesterday's prophecies, today's headlines. This is the Hal Lindsey Report.
That's classic.
Oh, yeah, that is classic.
That's classic.
That is classic. And he used to be on Trinity Broadcasting Network.
Oh, okay. But
they kicked him off.
Oh, why?
Because he was too pro-Israel and too anti-Islam.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're too radical for TBN,
they kick you. All right.
Yeah. So
it would be nice if they did that now. But I think that would really cool things down. But they don't. So
that's we could talk about Hank Kunneman and Greg Locke and a whole bunch of them other characters that are working with Ken Copeland. But today we're here to talk about Hal. And I also wanted to point out, if you want me to pause or anything,
sure.
If you want to comment, just space bar.
As I have noted before, the city of Damascus remains the oldest continuously inhabited city on the face of the earth. In all its long history, it has never been totally destroyed. Yet Isaiah predicts that in the last days, Damascus will be totally annihilated in a matter of moments. He wrote, "The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean."
So the goal here is to destroy all of Damascus in one day, such that no one more lives in Damascus after that one day. And that will be the condition that fulfills the prophecy.
Right. But the cleanup is going to be massive. It's going to take a long time.
I mean, how many million people live in Damascus? Is it like 10, 20?
I'm not sure.
Somewhere kind of like that. I think it's like 10 or 20 million.
But if you look at like the recovery operations in Gaza, that sort of that level of total annihilation. And in another video that I've done with Hal Lindsey, he was talking about he was making equivalencies to nuclear toxicity.
Yeah, that's a video that went to mind. It said all of Damascus will be destroyed in a minute.
And he was saying that they in the late 70s he was working with some guy that had been some nuclear engineer or something in the Navy, and the description that was given, there would be people that would go out, and if they saw a bone or a body part or whatever, they'd just mark it. And there would be specially trained people that would come along that were the gatherers and buriers. And this Navy guy was like, oh, that's exactly how you deal with radioactive body parts. And so that's how Hal Lindsey is extrapolating this utter destruction with all this other stuff.
I see.
But, I mean, Hal takes the destruction in a direction that really amplified where my congregation was already. Anyway, total utter destruction in an incredibly short period of time, which is why a couple of years ago when there was those bombing runs going on over Syria and over Damascus, there were people that were excited about that. I'm like,
the prophecy is going to come true.
Right, but I'm like, if you actually look at the prophecy, it's not lining up.
Right, and because I mean, the thing that gets me with it is when they wrote the Bible, 2,000 to 10,000 years ago, Old Testament, New Testament, all that, they didn't really have the technology to do that.
Right.
Right. I mean, like if you look back at when Rome burns down in fire.
Hal Lindsey has an answer for that, though.
Okay. God destroying.
John the Revelator was time traveled by God to the current era.
Classic. And he got.
And then time traveled back, and he just used the words that he had. To describe what he saw.
Totally destroyed the day.
Didn't have the words to describe what he saw. He didn't understand. But this is Hal's like, this is what's happening.
Okay. I mean, I'll for the sake of this, I will be willing to accept that John is a time traveler temporarily.
Okay.
Let's put that into the baseline.
Well, that's a side story, but yeah.
Isaiah's depiction of Damascus troubling Israel in the last days comes at a time when the glory of Jacob, or Israel, is made very thin. Speaking in the same terms as this prophecy, if Israel's glory were any thinner, it would be transparent. The only condition under which Israel could survive the world's outrage at hitting Syria with a nuclear attack would be if Syria hit Israel first with weapons of mass destruction.
Does that sound at all familiar in the current context?
It does sound pretty familiar with Iran, Israel. I mean, because that was kind of the justification on the Israeli side. It's why Iran is not allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
Right. But Trump scrapped that deal.
Right. He tore it up.
Yeah. Anyway.
Such as biological, chemical, or nuclear weapons. That is exactly the kind of circumstances predicted in Isaiah chapter 17, verse 4. As I noted earlier, Syria has long-range missiles already armed with both chemical and biological warheads aimed straight at Israel. This ISIS report indicates that Assad either has or is developing nuclear warheads for use against Israel as well.
Again, a familiar narrative. But this is one that they've been running since the Cold War, since the 80s. I was hearing this about other targeted enemies. I mean, we knew the Russians had nukes.
Right.
We knew numbers and stuff, but, we had the tactical advantage because we had superior equipment.
Right.
Anyway.
So this does make me think of something. So the people who want this prophecy to come about, right, are they pro-Iran developing a nuclear weapon?
Oh, no.
No?
No, in fact, they would more likely than not be perfectly okay with Iran being just blown off the surface of the planet, so they are no longer ever an issue ever again.
Even though Iran being an issue could cause this prophecy to come into place, making a nuclear war in the Middle East.
Right. But something else you got to look at also is how rightfully ties Russia and Iran together.
Sure.
But it's like he's often said that Iran is not much more than a puppet government for Russia. And with a communist-backed Sharia government, they can't be trusted. But if you look at Sharia law and you look at what MAGA is trying to do, it's the same damn thing. It's just different deities that are heading up these law systems. Which
like male predominance and women can go be in the kitchen and
I mean,
might makes right.
Joel Webbin himself has straight up said women should not be seen in the public environment. They should not be seen or heard, or he wants them barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Literally. Oh, he also says that nobody should be in politics except for white Christian men.
Oh, well, I mean, we got a lot of that already. So we're 90%.
Not even Mike Johnson's radical enough for Joel Webbin.
Huh.
In fact, Joel Webbin and Doug Wilson kind of get along, but they're slightly different flavors of radicalism. Where Doug Wilson is distinctly more militant, where Joel Webbin is distinctly more fascist.
Okay.
Isaiah makes a further prediction about the terrible incident. And behold, at eventide, trouble, and before the morning, he, meaning Damascus, is no more. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and the lot of them that rob us. Many experts believe Israel has more than 200 nuclear weapons that could fulfill Isaiah's prophecy in about 60 seconds. The potential of a nuclear-armed Syria pulls Isaiah's prophecy right out of the Bible and plants it on the front pages of the daily newspapers. In the book of Psalms, number 83, is a plea for God's provision over Israel's security. In it, the psalmist identifies and lists Israel's traditional antagonists. He writes, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." In other words, they're not so much against Israel as they are against Israel's God that protects them.
Did you notice how he truncated that verse?
A little bit.
Are you noticing he's taking a lot of stuff out of context? So far, and you got to watch this guy.
Okay.
You got to watch this guy with the translations that he uses. So far, he's only been using.
He's all been KJV.
Right. The other video that I did with Garrett,
he was flipping back and forth.
He used KJV and NASB. And I've actually seen him in a video where he used KJV, NASB, and the TLB, which I guess is
another one.
True Line.
Multiple translations.
But yeah, he used
just mixing.
Right, and the verse that he used out of the TLB was, which is what blew me away, because I was puttering around the house with this in my ear, just like pre-listening to some of these things, going, man, I remember hearing this stuff as a kid. But the verse that he pulled said that God sent a policeman and that we should respect him. I'm like, hold up, pause.
Yeah, we invented the policeman. Yeah.
And I went back and I listened to it again, and I'm like, yeah, that is what he said. And I noticed the translation he was using. So I had Amy listen to it, and she's just like, where does this guy get this stuff? And it's like, out of his backside. Anyway.
This prophecy in this psalm. The psalmist then identifies these enemies of God as the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagrites, Gebal, Ammon, and Amalek,
Is this
Philistia
Syria?
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Oh, okay. See,
it's Greece.
Well, he's making references to these other churches.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. These other regions that
ethnic groups
are around this area. Now you'll notice all of a sudden he's using the New King James version. So now we got KJV and NKJV. But like here, Amalek. Amalek later, like Amalek created an offense against the Hebrew people. Okay. And they got revenge for it 400 years later because God finally told them to go kill all the
Jews.
All the Amalek.
All the Amalek people. Okay.
Take their women and children you're not even supposed to spare their cattle. It was total genocide. Just slaughter all the
Amaleks. Just gone.
Yeah.
Huh. Where is Is Amalek still in Israel?
It's over there
somewhere in the West
region,
Bank kind of area. Yeah.
The Amalekites were fairly nomadic
people.
Okay, so it was really common back then for tribes
to be nomadic, especially with a bunch of livestock and.
Right, and what we're looking at here is a variety of Semitic tribes.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And so brother against brother, civil war kind of stuff. But it boils down to ideologies, really. Because in those times, a god was colloquial to a town. And so if
you had your local deity.
Right. And so if you wanted to conquer that town, part of that conquering was to tear down their temple. And if you tear down the temple, then the god no longer has a home and is gotten rid of. Which that ended up evolving into a Christian practice of our body is the temple. That's how that derived. We had to give they had to give God a new home. So he's in our heart. It's interesting how some of this stuff evolves over time.
That is interesting. Especially because the Christians were being persecuted in Rome a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, as well as like I was saying in the office earlier when Pastor Cheryl and Eve and you and I were there, and it's like they told us that we had to know the Bible because it would be illegal to carry a Bible in your hand. So you had to carry a Bible in your heart.
I see.
If you had a hidden sin and missed the rapture and got caught up in the tribulation. Because my particular sect of the doomsday cult were pre-trib. We thought we were going to be taken away before all the bad stuff happened, which is another reason why some of them don't mind things getting bad, because they're going to be gone
before it doesn't matter, right?
Before it gets really, really bad, and they're going to be spared unless they have a hidden sin. Anyway.
Ammon and Amalek, Philistia with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyria also has joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Edom is another name for Esau. Along with Ishmael, Esau is one of the principal forefathers of the Arab peoples. The Edomites and the Amalekites are descendants of Esau. The Moabites and Ammonites are the descendants of Lot. Moab is located in the Egyptian Sinai. Biblical Ammon is now central Jordan.
Yeah, it's right around
there. The Hagrites are descended through Hagar, the mother of Ishmael, and the Hagrites are all the people that sprung from her. Here's where these ancient people are today. The Hagrites represent modern-day Saudi Arabia, the heart and soul of Islam. Gebal is the city of Jebel in Lebanon. Amalek and the Philistines are the modern place in Gaza, home to Hamas.
So does this kind of come back to like the current?
Today's Syria and Iraq are.
So does that whole like Gaza and then annihilating the people go back to the current conflict in Gaza?
Yeah,
even though it's really more of like Palestine that's kind of taking control of Gaza now. It's the Israelites still believe it's like, and that this is why they believe it's theirs.
Right. Yes. A lot of the people in the MAGA camp also will buy into the whole Canaanite thing. And how evil the Canaanites are and all this stuff.
Descended from Cain.
Yeah. And from the land of Canaan.
Yeah.
But what they really didn't like was when I pointed out to them that the disciple Simon, he was a Canaanite. Anyway, but then again, it's like John Fugelsang says, MAGA hates the New Testament more than they hate the Constitution. Right?
I don't know if I've heard that, but I believe you.
I was watching an interview of his when he was doing his book tour after he released Separation of Church and Hate.
Yeah.
I have the book on my reading list.
Right.
It's upcoming. I'm 16 hours or so into an 18-hour read. One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 1. Volume 2 still 15 hours, and then after that, I've got Star Spangled Jesus by April LaJoy. She's a former Christian nationalist. She wrote and sang a Christian nationalist song on Jim Bakker's show. She's got a YouTube channel. She works with Tim Whitaker, another ex-evangelical. And then Jesus and John Wayne is sort of supposed to be a precursor to Star Spangled Jesus. I highly recommend The Gospel of J. Edgar Hoover by Lerone A. Martin.
Yeah, you told me before about that.
I will constantly be recommending people listen to it or go get a copy and read it. I liked the audiobook so much that I had to buy a physical copy from my research library because it distinctly links Billy Graham and J. Edgar Hoover as being the fathers of Christian nationalism in the United States in the 1950s. And then I got a couple of other books that there's just so many books keep popping up. And I kept sharing this audiobook form of War is a Racket. But the audiobook version of the book, this is a whole chapter. And I'm like, well, I want to know what the chapter is. So I went and bought me a copy. It's only like $12 on Amazon. That's pretty good. But anyway, so you can see how he's reaching back into the Old Testament and trying to make modern equivalencies. And the same thing happens when he's dealing with like the Battle of Armageddon. There's this whole teaching of the bear coming down out of the north. The king of the north is the bear.
Is that Russia?
That's Russia. Yeah. And the kings of the south, anyway, they practice a lot of eisegesis. Okay. Lots of eisegesis. They could not survive without it. They have
pseudoscience, but Jesus flavored.
Yeah, Jesus flavored pseudoscience. Yeah, that's a good way to they love that stuff. The Earth is flat. The moon is a hologram. Space is fake, but we're going to Mars. Anyway, it's crazy. These people need help. They really do, and it's on a case by case basis because they've all been distorted and twisted.
Right, in their own way to whatever they believe is comforting.
And my dad absolutely loves Billy Graham. And he still listens to Ken Copeland. I sent him a clip of Ken Copeland saying that God is the biggest loser in the Bible, and my dad's like, well, I never heard him say that. I just gave you the clip, but you're going to deny it anyway. This is an issue that I have with MAGA people.
You have to be willing. You have to be willing to look at your own belief system and say, what is unreasonable here?
Yeah,
and what is reasonable here?
But my dad grew up in the McCarthy era. So it's
everyone else is wrong,
right?
You're
the commies and all that, and then you get into a more modern era. Even in the first Trump administration, Democrats were referred to as demon rats. They were considered agents of Satan. That's a way of othering, and it also helps pigeonhole them into this end of times in days. Anyway, let's go back to the destruction of Damascus.
To join in helping the children of Lot, which is Lebanon, home to Hezbollah. Syria is supplying and equipping Hezbollah.
Oh, wait. So, when Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt because she disobeyed God and looked back, right? Do you remember what happened later in that chapter?
No.
At the end of the chapter?
I do not.
He and his daughters took shelter in a cave, and they got him drunk and took advantage of it.
Oh, man.
So the children of Lot, I'm wondering, are these the offspring of this incestuous relationship that his daughters had with him?
So his daughters got him drunk and then took advantage of him?
Yes.
Okay. That's an interesting way to write that. It usually happens the other way.
It usually happens the other way around, but if you look at how it all started at the beginning of the chapter, Lot offered his daughters up.
It's like a sacrifice.
Right. Yeah. And in that culture, it was shameful to marry a woman who wasn't a virgin. And so they felt like, well, if Dad doesn't think that we're good enough to get married, but we still want to have kids, we have this captive audience here. And that's how the men.
Sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
That's sad.
And that's one of the big issues that is still playing out in this modern patriarchal movement that we know as MAGA. There are a lot of Republican politicians and their constituents that support marrying girls off as young as 12 or younger.
Yeah.
But there is one here in Missouri at the state level, a Baptist Sunday school teacher out of Kansas City. Was distinctly advocating for marrying off girls daughters at the age of 12.
Yeah, that's bad. Can you even give parental permission at 12? I think you can at 16. I think that's the law. Is 16? Because there was a girl in my high school who did that.
It used to be in Missouri anyway. It used to be you could, if a parent gave their permission, then a child could be married, right? But the way there's a new law in place.
Okay.
All right. And I'm so thankful. But the new marriage law is 18, right?
Reasonable. Yep.
With the Romeo and Juliet caveat. So
you go off and elope and
right. So
Las Vegas,
if she's under 18 and he's not more than 2 years older than her.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you could still do a 12 and a 14-year-old,
and they have a pre-existing relationship. So under this,
the problem with all that to me is that you just change so much. Your opinions change so much at that age, right? It's like, especially during puberty, it's like everyone's emotional.
But the idea is that they're going to trap these girls at this age, in this environment, and they're not going to be able to allow to grow intellectually. You know, as long as they know how to cook a steak, bake a potato, and make a cake,
fine. You're right, that's enough.
You're good. You know, and you also need to know how to portion up. You know, you're used to a family of 5, and hubby comes home all of a sudden with a buddy or 5 from the office. Now you got to figure out how to calculate that. But that's your
problem.
That's your problem. But yeah, problematic in so many ways. Anyway, back to Damascus. I think.
Yep.
And has styled itself as the protector of Lebanon and the children of Lot. Iraqi cities are racked with demonstrators demanding death to Israel and death to America as Israel's ally. The psalmist also identifies the particular target of the Edomite alliance. It's the choice pasture lands that surround Jerusalem. It is written, "Let us take for ourselves the pastures of God for a possession." So, what is the root cause of the Arab-Israeli war? It's possession of Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. But
no, it's not. It's Rockefeller money.
Okay.
It goes back to the Arab-Israel War of 48.
Okay.
Robert Maxwell was actually the key component of getting weapons and aircraft parts into the Israel side of the Arab-Israel War.
So that they could win, yeah.
And that was in 48. When Allen Dulles became director of intelligence, head of the CIA in the United States in 52 under Eisenhower, the Rockefeller-backed MI6 became fully invested in Robert Maxwell. And there was already a marriage between MI6 and the Office of Naval Investigations.
Yeah.
And that ran from 42 to 45 called Operation Underworld. That literally married military intelligence and organized crime.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, fun stuff. So here we are.
Yep. In the Middle East, where everybody's taking everything out of the Middle East.
Right.
the goal is not just the conquest of Jerusalem simply as an Arab territorial possession. The goal is the conquest of God's holy mountain and God's holy city for an Islamic religious possession. The events outlined by this psalm are future events, as is the eventual and total destruction of Damascus. The first conflict in a series of wars is predicted in Psalms 83. This appears to be the same war foretold by Isaiah's burden of Damascus in chapter 17. And it is also the same war predicted by the often overlooked prophecy of Obadiah. This war particularly involves the descendants of Esau, which includes all the other Arab states surrounding Israel. However, it carefully excludes the non-Arab Muslim states of Iran and Turkey, and of course Pakistan and other nations around the world. They are included in the confederacy of the Muslim countries led by Persia, which is modern-day Iran, in the second and final attack to destroy Israel. It is predicted in Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39. This massive offensive includes the Persians and Turks that will fight under the command of the power from the uttermost north, which is Russia. But amazingly, this confederacy does not include the Arab Muslim states. Why? You see, they will have already been neutralized by the earlier Psalm 83 war. And even more amazing, Ezekiel named...
So how many wars have to occur before we can destroy Damascus? Because I mean, we're just backing up here. We started with destroying Damascus, and now we got to destroy Israel. And now we got to destroy the rest of the Middle East first.
But Damascus is the start.
It's the start.
Yeah.
We start the war in Damascus, and then it spreads. But then Damascus is destroyed.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole region's at war in Damascus. Okay. Well, it's just big, broad war.
It's all broad, pure, chaotic, kinetic war.
Sure.
With nukes and stuff.
Right.
That John the Revelator saw because he was time travel to the present and then time travel back.
I mean, it could happen. It could happen. I mean, the Middle East is volatile.
Yes.
There is currently war in the Middle East.
Yes. But Iran doesn't have any nukes.
That's true.
Thankfully.
That's true. And it doesn't look like anybody's willing to sell them any.
And
is the better part.
Yes, I'm glad about that. But what really blows me away is this assault on Iran, this particular round of assaults on Iran that killed the Ayatollah happened during Ramadan. A festival of peace.
I did hear it called the Ramadan War.
Peace.
Yeah.
A month of peace. And we go, it's like, oh, my neighbor.
Right. It's like blowing somebody up on Christmas.
Yeah,
like,
and that
dude, right.
So anyway.
Yeah.
When life
they're 2 years away from a nuclear bomb, but we can't wait another minute.
Right.
Names the people of modern Saudi Arabia as non-belligerent against the West and Israel at the time of this second war. Some view Ezekiel's Gog-Magog war and the Psalm 83 war as two distinct events separated by some significant period of time. I believe that's correct, but I also believe that the Bible supports the conclusion that the two events are also separated by the rapture of Christians out of this world. The assumption of an interval between the two wars is necessary because the Gog-Magog war takes place during a time of seeming peace and security within the state of Israel. The war predicted by Psalm 83, Isaiah 17, and Obadiah appears as a decisive battle in the 4,000-year-old intergenerational conflict between the descendants of Esau and Jacob. But the prophecies about the Psalms 83 war indicate that when it is over, so is the Arab threat to Israel.
So it sounds to me like he's talking about a 4,000-year-old Hatfield and McCoy
feud. Yeah,
feud. I mean,
it's not wrong. I mean, that whole region has been at war intermittently for thousands of years,
and it's generally been over religious practices,
right?
You know,
right. I mean, isn't that how the Crimean War started? Like back in like the 60s,
something like
there
that.
There was like somebody in Jerusalem didn't get the keys to the temple on a Saturday.
Something like that. Yeah. And it's wild, really wild. People can get bent out of shape over such silly things.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's like, yeah, it's just. I mean,
it's frustrating.
It's frustrating, but I mean, it's everyone. You do have to be kind of pretty ideological to go and settle and tie a lot of your life to a holy site.
Yes.
Just any holy site, right? And so when there's multiple groups that all come and are that ideological in proximity and then become in conflict with another,
right?
Something is just bound to happen.
And
it's like somebody's going to mess up.
What's really interesting about the divide between Muslims and Christians, you know, especially conservative Christians, just absolutely despise anybody that's not the same as them. And Islam, they will recognize Jesus as a prophet. They just
I've
think
heard that,
Muhammad is the
better prophet, right?
And so what we end up boiling down with is we got the Jews with their uber prophet Abraham, the Christians with their uber prophet Jesus, and the Muslims with their uber prophet Muhammad.
Right.
But it's the same God.
Yeah, I mean they're all Abrahamic religion.
Right. But it's they're cousins fighting over a hill.
Right.
Basically, instead of coming up with some sort of cooperative measure where they could
cooperative solution. Yeah.
Right. Somebody's got to be on top.
Okay, you can share.
Yeah.
Because I mean, isn't there a system where, I mean, it can't currently just like all the like Jews, Muslims, and Christians can all go to the big wall and worship at the wall in harmony. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
but the Christians see the mosque as an affront because Muslims aren't Christians, therefore they're devil worshippers.
Sure. It's unfortunate. I mean,
it's not my God, it's the devil.
That's what gets me. That's the part that gets me, because it's like it is totally reasonable to believe in God in your own way and practice that faith in yourself to whatever way brings you the most peace or understanding.
Right.
But to then apply that belief system to other people, you're not giving them the same liberty that you're giving yourself.
Right.
In belief.
Right.
And it's like,
because a lot of
who gave you the right to believe what you believe?
Yeah.
And then who are you to take that right away from somebody else?
Right. Especially if you're promoting the idea of free will.
Right.
I have the free will to decide for myself, but you have to agree with me.
Right.
Excuse me? No. Anyway,
you're not that important.
Yeah, we don't have much left. We don't have much left on this.
Well, all right.
But this has provided us with some pretty good conversation and talking points. But it's kind of crazy how this guy repeated this message for like 40 years.
Wow.
And
nobody destroyed Damascus.
Right. none of his prophecies ever came true, and yet there are people that still believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But that actually goes back to the Millerite situation. And that gave us the Seventh-day Adventists and Jehovah's Witnesses. Miller took these people took his followers up on top of this mountain or hill, whatever it was, after he convinced them to give up everything, sell everything, give everything away. And then they went up on top of this mountain to pray and wait for God, and then God didn't show up. The rapture didn't happen.
Like starved to death.
Oh, God.
My bad, guys.
God heard your prayers. He decided that
it wasn't the right time.
Going back to Sodom and Gomorrah. If I can find this many righteous people, will you spare the city? And so your prayers spared the earth. And a bunch of people died. But what was crazy, and it's starting with that event and looking at failed prophecy stuff since then, since the early 1800s, when those prophecies fail, 80% of the followers will double down on their beliefs.
Because I mean, that's just now become core to your identity.
Right.
Right. You've given up everything else.
Right.
You've really isolated yourself into this region.
Right. I'm glad you brought up identity, because MAGA, they think that individuals who fly gay pride flags are leaning into their identity. Right. Oh, I don't want to hear identity politics. Dude, you're wearing a red hat.
Right.
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 You're wearing a Trump shirt.
Yeah. You've got your
red hat and a Trump shirt.
You've got your identity. Someone else has got their identity.
And they don't necessarily have to conflict.
Right.
Anyway.
You don't have to go to the Pride Parade.
Right.
Nobody has to go to a Trump speech, right? or a MAGA rally. Nobody.
Right.
So there does not need to be conflict between these two groups. It's just it's being created.
Right. Manufactured.
Yep.
All right, let's see what we can do about getting this finished up.
Yeah.
The threats of the Muslim Arab nations in Psalm 83 sound like what we're hearing on TV and radio broadcasts from Damascus, Lebanon, Gaza, Tehran. And what appears to be taking place is the development of both of these enemy alliances simultaneously. Unquestionably, the declared goal of both of these alliances is the annihilation of the State of Israel. Neither the Bible nor Jane's Defense Weekly would give the Arab peoples named in Psalm 83 even a slim chance of surviving intact if Israel launched a retaliatory nuclear strike on their cities. And this very plan already does exist. Its code name is the Samson option. Israel has codified this a long time ago. It's a strategy already planned, prepared, and ready to launch if Israel is clearly in danger of being overrun and destroyed. But I believe what is more likely to happen is this. Syria will launch weapons of mass destruction against Israel, and the other surrounding Arab nations will attack. In retaliation, Israel will launch a nuclear strike on Damascus that will utterly destroy it. Then Israel, facing overwhelming forces on all sides, will strike back with strategic neutron battlefield missiles at the massed armies. Neutron weapons.
This is neutron bomb. He said neutron. This is neutron bomb.
He's talking neutron weapons.
Okay,
Yeah.
casual.
Like I told you, he really leaned in.
Right. I don't think Israel. I don't think Israel has neutron. But those don't exist, do they? We stopped developing those, or do they? Or do they? Yeah.
No, I think actually what he meant was nuclear,
Sure.
not neutron.
But there is such a thing as a neutron bomb.
There is a neutron bomb,
theoretically,
but hydrogen bombs are more efficient.
right? Cheap.
Yep.
Cheap.
Moab, the mother of all bombs.
Yeah.
Fuel air bomb. That thing is wicked. Anyway, back to this.
Are unique in that they can be built to only destroy life in a pre-calibrated radius, usually a radius of about 1 to 5 miles. This would destroy the bulk of the attacking forces without making the entire region unlivable. The Psalm 83 scenario leaves Israel with that no Arab enemies within immediate striking distance capable of launching another war thereafter. This possible scenario would allow for the unusual existence of Israel described in Ezekiel 38 as a land of unwalled villages. The Israelis would be living in apparent peace and security. Now, though I can't be dogmatic on this interpretation,
I just had to point
A
out,
land of unwalled villages.
small villages were just unwalled.
Right. I mean, you had to be rich to put all those rocks together.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, it's like the amount of manpower it would take to just move around. They didn't have forklifts.
No.
You had to pick up a rock, move it, put it down, and then do that 50,000 more times.
Right.
And that took a lot of food.
And a lot of those, yeah, exactly.
Right.
A lot of those villages that would have been discovered scattered across the land were agricultural communities,
Right.
and such.
It's like, and why bother making a wall if you only have like 100 people in a village?
Right. And you know, you might need to build some fencing for your livestock or
Yeah,
whatever, but you don't
a
need
wall.
walls.
You don't need a wall.
You know, if you're a trade center, then you might want
Right.
some
If
walls
you're like
for
actually
security.
at risk of being invaded.
Right.
Why not?
If you have things worth protecting.
Right.
current events continue to suggest the finer details of the stages of war in the end times that eventually end in the mother of all wars, Armageddon. The important thing is that after such a horrible catastrophe, the world would be so terrified that they will cry out for a leader powerful enough to take over a one-world government and enforce peace. Just such a leader is predicted in Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. And it's at the very same time in history as we're looking at. So they worship the dragon.
Just really quick, there's going to be a human one world leader. That's not going to be God.
That's what he's talking about.
I thought that was kind of the point.
He's talking about the Antichrist.
Oh,
the beast.
Okay, you're the dragon.
Right. And this is how these people come up with this whole concept of the beast system.
Sure.
You know, global banking is part of the beast system.
I have not heard of this, but
sure. We can have that conversation another time. It's really that deeply embedded in their ideology and their beliefs. They literally think for the last 50 years that Jesus is coming in the next 5 minutes at any time.
Right.
Be ready, peace of the night, and all that. Anyway, yeah, it's intense. It's intense to live in that world, man.
Yeah.
It's really intense to grow up in that world as a teenager when the entire country is scared of nukes falling out of the sky anyway because it was the Cold War.
Yeah.
70s were intense for me, man. They're real intense.
Or Satan, who gave authority to the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Okay, so he's used 3 different translations in this video.
Yeah, KJV, New King James, and NASB here.
Yeah. It's just standard for him.
Okay.
2 or 3 translations will be used. This guy cherry picks like nobody.
The dragon is Satan, and the beast is the Antichrist. It's clear from the exclamation of praise to the Antichrist that the terrified world sees the Antichrist as the deliverer from the horrible war they have just witnessed.
Are the beast and the Antichrist not the same thing?
Correct.
Or okay.
The beast is Satan himself.
The beast is
the
Satan.
Antichrist
and
is a human.
Oh.
And
that human is going to be the leader.
Yes.
I see. But that human, are they kind of born as the Antichrist? Okay.
Like in
sure.
Damien.
Yeah.
And that's something else that's kind of interesting to look into. Several content creators have done that. Have looked at the link between Christianity and Hollywood. In the spiritual warfare video that I just did on that Billy Graham sermon about spiritual warfare, Billy actually invokes like the movie The Exorcist on how it was written about real events. And yet, if you look at how the Christian ideology changed around demon possession, it shifted with the Hollywood thing. Once The Exorcist came out, it had that it ramped up things in the communities that really believed demon possession could happen. That exorcisms are real, and Jesus did it, we can do it, and that's a whole nother conversation in itself. Sure. So we could have several conversations. Yeah, there's a few seconds left here.
And the destruction of Damascus. I believe this person is alive and standing in the wings somewhere in Europe right now. He is only waiting for God to permit him to be unveiled to the world. I'll be back in just a moment.
All right, hey, it's me and Post, and apparently when Joe and I had our closing comments, I forgot to unmute the microphones and they went to sleep. We rambled for a while, and then I noticed that there wasn't audio recording. So unfortunately, I don't have the very pleasant and enjoyable conversation that Joe and I had. He did thank me for the opportunity to sit down and check the stuff out. There's a chance that we'll probably end up doing some more together. I haven't discussed that with Garrett yet, and I suspect that I can probably get Justin to sit in with me on a couple more. I don't know. I have like another 20 to go through. There's some that I'm going to reserve for myself, though. Anyway, sorry that I was distracted and forgot to unmute the microphones to catch the closing conversation that Joe and I had. But again, he told me he had a good time and appreciated the opportunity. It really opened his eyes up to some things. Anyway, like I always say, take care of yourself so you can help take care of others. Get the rest you need and keep track of those fluids.
Everybody